So it will be 1:4, and from this ratio I can find the ratio of the velocity. In this video we are going to discuss about the energy. So all we know is energy, it is the internal capacity to do work. If a body has energy, if we say if a body has some energy, then definitely it has the chances that it can do some possible amount of work. So basically energy is divided into many types. Different forms of energy are there: mechanical energy, electrical energy, sound energy, and many more energies are there, many more forms. But basically in mechanics we are going to study the types of mechanical energy. Mechanical energy is further divided into two types, that is the kinetic energy and the other type is potential energy. So about this kinetic and potential we are going to learn in detail. We will solve some numericals based on kinetic energy and potential energy. So kinetic energy, it is the measure of work done by a body by virtue of its motion. If a body is in motion, if it has some velocity, then we can say that the body has some kinetic energy. So the formula, mathematical formula of kinetic energy, all we know is half into m into v square, mass into velocity square. Okay, so here one important thing, that kinetic energy can never be negative, it is always a positive quantity, because mass is always positive, and if velocity is also negative, then the square of velocity will make the whole term kinetic energy as a positive quantity. So now we'll see that how kinetic energy is related with work. So here one important thing we are going to discuss is we are going to relate the kinetic energy with work done, that is going to be the work energy theorem, and also we are going to relate the kinetic energy with momentum. So many questions are asked in NEET and JEE regarding the relation between kinetic energy and momentum. So about this we'll discuss. Okay, so now we'll discuss the relationship between kinetic energy and momentum. So we know that momentum is mass into velocity. Simply you can square both sides, it will be p square into m square v square. This we can rewrite as p square by m equal to m into v square. Now you multiply half both sides. So in the right hand side you are going to get kinetic energy. So here you can see that we got the formula of kinetic energy as p square by 2m. Okay, so this is one of the important formula, and p can also be expressed in terms of kinetic energy as root over of 2 into m into kinetic energy. So you can see it is given in the question that the kinetic energy increases by 300%. So let the initial kinetic energy equal to k, then the final kinetic energy will be k plus 3k, that equal to 4k. As it has increased by 300%, so I have added 3k with the initial to get the final kinetic energy. Now you see the ratio I will find out of initial and final, it will be k by 4k. So it will be 1:4, and from this ratio I can find the ratio of the velocity, half m into v initial square by half m into v final square. It would be 1/4. Here half m got cancelled, so which gives me the ratio of v initial by v final as 1:2. So from this ratio we can find the momentum, final momentum. So you can see the initial momentum p initial will be m into v initial, and final momentum m into v final. So in place of m into v final I can substitute 2 v initial. Okay, so now you can find the ratio of initial momentum to final momentum. P initial by P final, it will be 1 by 2. So the final momentum will be 2 times of P initial. Now we will find the percentage increase. So to find the percentage increase, you can use the formula P new minus P old by P old into 100. So this will give you the percentage increase. So now you see the new momentum is 2pi and the old was pi by pi into 100. This value is going to give you 100%. So this is the answer to the question. So option A is correct. So the next question is, two bodies with kinetic energies in the ratio of 4:1 are moving with equal linear momentum. The ratio of their masses is. So in this question we have to create relation between kinetic energy with momentum and mass also there. So we know K equal to P square by 2m. This relation we know, kinetic energy equal to P square by 2m. Now in the question it is given that momentum is constant, so you can neglect that. So Ke is inversely proportional to mass. Now Ke1 by Ke2 will be equal to m2 by m1. So from this relation directly you can use the ratio of kinetic energy. It is given in the question that 4 by 1 equal to m2 by m1. So in the question we have to find the ratio of m1 is to m2. That will be 1:4. That is the answer to this question. And one more question of this type, that it is given two bodies of masses m and 4m are moving with equal kinetic energies, then the ratio of their momentum is. So here you see we have to find the ratio of the linear momentum. So we know the formula of linear momentum in terms of kinetic energy is P equal to root over of 2m into kinetic energy, root over of 2m Ke. Now in the question it is given that the ratio of their masses is m and 4m and kinetic energy is equal. So P1 by P2 it will be root over of m1 by root over of m2. Here kinetic energy is constant, so you can neglect that. So 2 is also constant, neglect that. Now the ratio of their masses is given in the question as m and 4m. So it will be m by, it will be 4m root over, or it will be 1 by 2. So the ratio will be P1 is to P2 equal to 1:2. So option A is correct. Okay, so now we'll discuss about the work energy theorem. So how the energy, that is the kinetic energy and work, is interrelated. So we can say that total work done by all the forces, may be conservative and non-conservative, internal forces, external forces, is equal to the change in the kinetic energy. Whatever the change is produced in the kinetic energy is equal to work done. So suppose this is the initial point and this is the final point. In this initial point, let the kinetic energy is Ke initial, and here the final kinetic energy is Ke final. Then we can say that work done from initial to final will be equal to kinetic energy of final minus kinetic energy of initial. Okay, so work done can also be represented like delta Ke, change in kinetic energy. So this theorem is very important. We'll practice some numericals based on work energy theorem. In previous year questions, lots of questions are there based on work energy theorem. So let us discuss a question based on work energy theorem. It is given that consider a drop of rainwater having mass of 1 gram falling from a height of 1 kilometer. It hits the ground with a speed of 50 meter per second. Take G with a value of 10 meter per second square. So work done by the gravitational force and the resistive force of air is. So the pairs of answers are given in the options. We have to choose the correct option. Okay. So first we'll write down all the data given. Mass is 1 kg, that is 10 to the power minus 3 kg. Height is 1 kilometer, 1000 meter. In the SI units we have to write. And velocity, final velocity is 50 meter per second. G value we have to take 10 meter per second square as given in the question. And initial velocity will be 0 as it is starting from rest. So initial kinetic energy will also be equal to 0. Now first we have to find the work done by the gravity. So work done by the gravity will be mg into h. So this is the force due to gravity into height. Okay, so mg h value will be, you can put the values of mass as 10 to the power minus 3 kg into g is 10 and height is 1000. So on solving this you will get 10 joule. This is the work done by the gravity. Next we have to find the work done by the resistive force. So here we will apply the work energy theorem. So we have learned that work energy theorem, in work energy theorem the total work done by all the forces. Here you see the gravitational force is there and resistive force is there. So two type of forces they are doing work. So here work done by gravity plus work done by resistive force will be equal to change in the kinetic energy, K final minus K initial. So work done by gravity we have calculated 10 joule plus work done by resistive force, we don't know resistive force, we will simply leave that, and the final kinetic energy will be half into mass is 10 to the power minus 3 into v square, final velocity is 50 square minus initial kinetic energy is 0 since initial velocity is 0. Now on solving this you will get work done by resistive force equal to minus 8.75 joules. On work energy theorem, it is given a bullet of mass 10 gram leaves a rifle at an initial velocity of 1000 meter per second, strikes the earth at the same level with a velocity of 500 meter per second. The work done in joule for overcoming the resistance of air will be. Okay, so we'll apply the work energy theorem over here. So work done equal to change in kinetic energy of the body. So here work done will be equal to half into mass is 0.01 into 1000 square minus 500 square. These are the two velocities. Then on solving this you will get the answer to be 3750 joule. This much amount of work is done. So option B is correct. So now we are going to discuss about the conservative and non-conservative forces. So in case of conservative forces, the work done, it does not depend on the path. So the work done here in case of conservative forces, it depends only on the initial and final position. So it is independent of the path followed. But in case of non-conservative forces, it basically depends on the path. Which path is follows? So it depends on the path. Now work done in a round trip is 0. Means if the body comes to the initial position again, then in that case the work done is 0 in case of conservative forces. But in case of non-conservative forces, the work done in a round trip is not 0. There will be some loss of energy during the process. And here you can see the examples like gravitational force, spring force, electrostatic force. They are some of the examples of conservative forces. And non-conservative forces, the frictional force, viscous drag, air resistance. So these are the non-conservative forces. So here in case of conservative force, the work done is completely recovered. Recovered means the whatever we do the work, that work will be converted into energy, mechanical energy. But in case of non-conservative force, the work done is not completely recovered. There will be some loss of energy, that may be in the form of heat. There will be some loss of energy. So here we are going to take an example of conservative and non-conservative forces. So here you can see a block is there of mass m, which is placed at position 1. So if we apply a force and move the block to position 1 to position 2, where the friction is present on the surface. So in this case, if you calculate the work done in moving the block from 1 to 2 by the friction, then the work done W1 is going to be minus mu mg into S. So this minus mu mg is the frictional force and S is the displacement. So why I put the negative sign here? While moving in the right side direction, the friction will act towards left side direction. That is the direction of friction, which acts opposite to the direction of motion. But in the second case, you see, while moving back, now the work done we have considered as W2. So here the displacement is taking towards left side direction. So friction will be along right side direction. Now again the work done W2 will be mu mg into S with a negative sign, because the angle between the frictional force and displacement is 180 degree, and we know that cos 180 is minus 1. So the total work done, if we see total work done, you can see here it is minus 2 mg. So it is not 0. So you consider the round trip movement. In the round trip movement, the work done is not 0. Similarly, if you change the path, suppose you follow this path, then in this path you traveled a different distance. Instead of S, you will travel a distance of S1. So you change the path to S1. So in this case, what will happen is the work done is going to be minus mu mg into S1. So here you can see there is a change in work done. When we change the path, there is a change in work done. So this is all about the non-conservative force, that is the frictional force we have considered for example. Now you can see this example. So this motion I have considered under gravity. So in this case, suppose this is the initial position and this is the final position. So the height difference is h. While moving in downward direction, the work done by gravity will be mgh. Now you see, while moving in upward direction, when you move the block in upward direction, the work done by gravity will be minus mg into h. So now the total work done in this process, this is downward work and this is upward work, total work done will be 0. Okay, when you add the total work done will be 0 in this case. So here you can see the example. In case of conservative force, the round trip work done is 0. Now you see, if we change the path, we follow the path B, then also the work done is going to be mgh. How? You can see the displacement is here S. So you can change the path, still the work done is mgh. So that's why conservative force does not depend on the path follows. It only depends on initial and final position.